Yeah, it was weird. But in the pilot you're working on, is that the same as the dad clown?
No, it's not. Although I am taking that aspect and putting it in this. Essentially, the pilot I'm working on, um, it's weird because I'm in the middle of writing it. Like I have an idea of a concept. It's for a show. It's kind of based on my life and my friends. It's a show called Geeks.
Oh yeah.
Basically, it's kind of like a sitcom about like four kids about like 17, 18 and shit like in school. And like just going through it's kind of based on stuff like The In-Betweeners, which is a British show that you probably might not have heard
Mhm.
of. Um, stuff and just like just and if any people out there who've seen Space, which is the show that the people who did Shaun of the Dead did before that film. Space it's a show where like literally every 10 seconds there is like a reference or something. And like so I like that because there's there's a term in comedy called the 2%er, which is a gag that like 2% of the audience when let's say for instance like me or Apple makes a new YouTube video and we make a joke saying that's no good obviously for
Yeah.
like Sonic says and shit. Everyone gets that, right? If say The Simpsons was to make that joke, probably 2% of the audience would understand it. It's stuff like that. But the thing about 2%ers is that in many ways they're funnier because
Mhm.
it's kind of like if say I was sitting in a room with my whole family and like on The Simpsons, Homer goes, "That's no good" or something like that, right?
Mhm.
I would, like the joke that only you get is at some certain times funnier than like the jokes that every like say like Homer making a reference like I really kind of like hard to get reference from say like GI Joe would be funnier than say just having Homer say get hit on the head with a hammer
Mhm.
because it's kind of a joke that like only a few people get. Every time I used to watch like Family Guy and they'd make a reference to like an old film like say Transformers, I always understood that, so I always laughed at those jokes more.
Mhm.
It's kind of like like, I understand this joke. Like my sister next to me would not. So I'm like, "Hey, in your face, bitch! I'm sadder than you are."
Uh, how do you how do you feel towards Family Guy? Like
Used to love it. Seasons 1 to 3, some of the greatest television of all time. Season 4 was okay, wasn't amazing. Season 5 onwards, it's now turned into the worst. I borrowed season 7 off my friend. It was a chore to watch. I was literally forcing myself to watch on every episode. I laughed 4 times. In 17 episodes, I laughed at 4 jokes.
that's
Two two of them were just like, one of them I can't remember the joke, but one of them I did laugh a long time at. Yeah, just four jokes in 17 episodes is quite bad.
yeah. And I remember you told me we were talking about this before, but you told me that you can badmouth The Simpsons all you want, but like it took them like how many seasons to get stale?
Most people would cite them around season 13.
Yeah, and then
But the thing is, the thing about The Simpsons with me is that while it may not be laugh out loud anymore, there's still I could watch a new episode, and I would still probably smile and chuckle at a few things, maybe even have a few laughs. Family Guy to me and also Simpsons still has somewhat halfway decent stories. The stories in Family Guy just make no sense. They're just poorly made. Like I've always whenever Family Guy try and do an emotional episode where like say Meg's dying or
mhm.
something, right? And like all the family are sad. I would just be like, why should we care if Meg's gonna die when half the time, half the jokes are made at her expense. So like you can't. And also there's like Lois. Might be for Family Guy. Like Lois used to be like a kind of like respectable. Like she was like the normal one in the house.
Mhm.
Like she was like her and Brian were like the two normal people. But like her and Brian have done so many different stuff, like like being addicted to cocaine, shoplifting, killing people, shit, blah 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 blah. That when they try and have them kind of look down at stuff Peter does, it's almost like you haven't got a leg to stand on, because he's a retard. He literally knows no better. You two are meant to be smart, and you've done worse stuff than he has, and you're trying to put him down. I think Family Guy, and also South Park said it best. It's just like, well, if people, a lot of people still find it funny, that's cool. If you find it funny, good for you. But it is the laziest show on
It's
television.
true. How do you feel towards
Um,
South Park though? Like in terms of that?
I still think South Park for me is I still find it hilarious. Although every now and again they will have an episode I won't laugh at once. Like there was an episode a few weeks ago with the Queef
Oh
episode.
yeah,
I didn't laugh at. To me, I was like, that's at the best. That's a gag. That's not an
yeah.
episode. Because they kept them, a guy farts, it's hilarious. Woman queefs. Everyone's like, "Oh, that's disgusting." They did that joke like 7 times in a row.
Mm.
Although I thought the Coon, the episode where they kind of parody Dark Knight and Watchmen, was one of the greatest episodes of anything I've ever seen. Like, I didn't laugh that much at it, but I thought there's a scene where Cartman dressed as the Coon, and it's a raccoon, not a black man. So, he goes to see Butters as Professor Chaos, and just the way it's shot and the music, I'm not joking, one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. It's like, the heroic and mighty Coon, come to put a stop to me again. Chaos, I have to keep on my toes. It's like such a well done parody of like Dark Knight. I was laughing my ass off. But I think South Park, yeah, I think every once in a while they have like a duff episode, but more often than not, South Park is still hilarious.
Now, going back to that show, the pilot you're working on, Geeks, like, can you give me like a glimpse of some of the characters in that?
Well, basically, there's four friends, right, and each of them kind of has to give each character kind of an actual character. I kind of like split, like if you think about all the big things people are geeks for, I kind of gave each of them a specific one. Like one of them is really into video games, one of them was like really into film. Basically, I just broke because David Weiss, who was a very famous animation writer, when he was kind of the showrunner of the original Ninja Turtle cartoon in the 80s, and he said when he was writing that, he kind of like broke himself into 4 pieces. I kind of like, the aspect of him which was the goofball, he wrote as Michelangelo. The aspect of him which was the smart guy, he wrote as Donatello. That's basically like the sections of me that are like, say, like the part of me that's like a massive film nerd. I write for I'm trying to remember the names.
Close, like children to him.
Yeah, like the first that like as me as a nerd, I write for Brent. Like the part of me that was like a big comic book nerd, I write for like Jimmy and like just that, and also like they do have their own separate, because you have to give them their own separate personality. But the problem with doing stuff like foursomes, like, is that pretty much if you pick any foursome, like any group of characters that's set for, you can pretty much just they are just the Ninja Turtles. You give me any set of 4 characters in a group, and I will tell you which Ninja Turtle they are.
It's true.
It's like, say, take like South Park, right? Take South Park. Stan's Leonardo, he's the leader. Kyle is Donatello, the smart one. Cartman is Raphael, the most aggressive, and Kenny's Michelangelo because he's the funniest one. You take seriously any 4 group, and I will tell you which ninja. That's basically how I broke it down. I'm like, okay, this one I'll write as Leonardo, this one's Donatello, and essentially what happens is that if I make this and it doesn't work well, I'm just gonna change the names back to Leonardo, Michelangelo, Raphael, Donatello, and send it to Mirage as the next Ninja Turtle film script. Smarter than the average bear, my friend.
You got a good plan going there.
It's a genius plan, and I'll just change like like the school bully to Shredder. There you go, it's perfect.
Now in the pilot, like what would they go through? Like we know the characters now.
Essentially, the pilot kind of starts with them starting their log, because originally, to give some backstory, this idea I've had for a few years now, and in fact when I was in year 12, which is the second to last year, I actually had this envisioned as a film script. So I spent about a week. I got about 30 to 40 pages of the script done. I wrote like all the characters and like what they were gonna do, who they were, what their arcs are. Like one of them is like is in love with somebody, because you have to have a cliched love story. If Transformers taught us anything, the cliched love story, then there has to be a bit where one of them goes, You know what? Enter name here. No matter what happens, I'm really glad I got in that car with you. It's got to be done.